town of Riverside was not a place of wealth or power. It was a small working-class town where people fought each day just to keep food on the table. At the very edge of its cracked roads stood a shabby little garage with a rusted tin roof and a fading sign that barely read, "Sam's Auto Repairs." The paint had peeled so badly that strangers often thought the place was abandoned. But inside, working tirelessly with grease-stained hands, was Samuel Carter, known simply as Sam. Sam was 32 and had already seen more hardship than most. He was tall, lean from years of labor, with a face that carried both exhaustion and quiet determination. He had lost his parents young, and since then, his only family was his younger sister Lily. Everything he earned went to her education because Sam had only one dream. Lily would live a better life than him. For that, he was willing to sacrifice anything. Sam lived in a small shack behind the garage. It had one squeaky bed, a crooked table, and an old radio that worked when it wanted. Meals were simple: bread, beans, or whatever he could afford. Yet, despite his struggles, Sam was known around town as honest and kind. He never overcharged his customers, even when it meant losing money. People trusted him, even if they couldn't always pay. One morning, while fixing an old pickup truck, Sam's phone buzzed. It was Lily. "Sam, did you eat breakfast today?" she asked with her usual concern. "Coffee counts as breakfast, doesn't it?" He answered with a tired smile. "Sam, you can't live on coffee alone. Please take care of yourself, too." "I feel guilty." "Don't. Just focus on your studies." "That's all I need," Sam said, hanging up before she could argue further. The day was quiet until the screech of tires and a puff of smoke broke the silence. An ambulance pulled up outside his garage, its engine dead. The driver jumped out, panic etched across his face. "Help! The engine's dead! We have a critical patient inside. She won't make it if we don't move now." Sam rushed to the back of the ambulance. Through the glass doors, he saw a pale woman lying on a stretcher, her chest rising faintly, tubes attached to her arms. A medic frantically pressing a mask over her face. "She's fading fast!" the medic yelled. Her heart could stop any second. Sam looked under the hood. The radiator was overheated, belts cracked, hoses leaking. Repairs like this usually took hours, but he didn't have hours. He barely had minutes. "Can you fix it?" the driver demanded. Sam swallowed hard. "I don't have a choice." "I will." He grabbed his tools, hands moving with desperate precision. He pulled a rubber tube from his own compressor kit, cut it to size, and used it as a temporary coolant pipe. He hammered the alternator belt into place, patched a leaking hose with duct tape, and tightened bolts with every ounce of strength he had. His shirt clung to his back, sweat pouring down his face. His knuckles split open, blood smearing across the metal, but he didn't stop. Her heart rate is dropping. The medic shouted from inside, "Come on!" "Hold together," Sam muttered through clenched teeth. Finally, he slammed the hood shut. "Try it now," he yelled. The driver turned the key. The engine sputtered, coughed, and then roared back to life. "Yes!" the medic cried. "She's stabilizing. Let's go!" The ambulance tore off down the street, sirens blaring once more. Sam stood in the dust, chest heaving, his hands trembling. He didn't know who the woman was. To him, she was just a life that needed saving. That night, as Sam sat on his cot with a stale sandwich in hand, his old television flickered. "Breaking news," the anchor announced. Billionaire philanthropist Victoria Hale suffered a near-fatal cardiac arrest during a charity gala. On her way to the hospital, her ambulance stalled due to mechanical failure. Miraculously, a local mechanic repaired the vehicle just in time, saving her life. "Doctors say Ms. Hale is now in stable condition." Sam froze. His sandwich dropped from his hand. Billionaire? He had heard of Victoria Hale before. An empire of businesses, countless charities, one of the most powerful women in the country. And he, a poor mechanic struggling to make rent, had unknowingly saved her life. He shook his head, almost laughing. It felt surreal. But the next morning, life went on as usual. He fixed cars, earned little, and kept sending money to Lily. He didn't expect anything more. A week later, a sleek black limousine pulled up outside his garage. Sam frowned as a sharply dressed woman stepped out. "Are you Samuel Carter?" she asked. "Yes," he said cautiously. "I work for Ms. Victoria Hale. She would like to meet you." Sam's wrench clattered to the floor. "Victoria Hale? She wants to meet me?" Within hours, Sam found himself inside the grand halls of Riverside General Hospital. He felt painfully out of place in his grease-stained shirt and boots. When the door to a private suite opened, he stepped inside. There, resting in bed but looking strong, was Victoria Hale. Her eyes met his. "You're the mechanic, aren't you?" "Yes, ma'am," Sam stammered. "I just fixed the engine." "You did more than that," she said warmly. "You saved my life. Without you, I would not be here." Sam shifted uncomfortably. "I just did what anyone would have." Victoria shook her head. "No, not anyone. Many people hesitate. Some walk away. You acted without hesitation, not even knowing who I was." Sam didn't know what to say. He wasn't used to recognition. For weeks afterward, Victoria asked him to visit. Their conversations grew. He told her about his parents, about Lily, about the garage he fought to keep alive. She listened intently, moved by his honesty and sacrifice. One day she told him, "Money has never impressed me, but kindness and integrity do. You carry both." When she recovered, Victoria made a promise. She arrived at his garage one afternoon, a convoy of cars drawing half the town's attention. She handed Sam a folder. Inside were documents transferring ownership of a modern auto center in the city, fully equipped, legally his. Sam's eyes widened. I can't accept this." "You can," Victoria said firmly. "You gave me more time in this world. The least I can do is give you a future." Tears stung Sam's eyes. For the first time, he allowed himself to believe his life could change. With Victoria's support, Sam's new auto center became one of the best in the region. He hired struggling workers, paid them fairly, and never turned away those who couldn't afford repairs. His sister finished her studies at a prestigious college, thanks to his new stability. Years later, as Sam stood outside his thriving garage, watching the glowing sign with his name on it, he thought about that day when an ambulance had stalled in front of him. He had thought it was just another job, another broken engine, but it had been the turning point of his life. He had saved a billionaire's life, but in truth, that moment had saved his own. Sam carried a simple lesson for the rest of his days. True wealth is not measured by money, but by the lives you touch. The kindness you give, and the sacrifices you make without expecting reward.